So today let's start off. We're going to take you down to the studio and we're going to start off with our first project, and I have determined that I'm going to be making my project using blue. So let's get to it right now. So let's start off our project today. We're just going to create a slip knot. I am using Super Saver for my particular project, and I'm using a size I or 5.5 millimeter crochet hook today, and we're going to be working on the head as per the instructions. So you can get that in the more information of this video. There is a link. And so when we're starting with this pin, we're starting at the top of the head. So it's like the top of the back of the head. So let's begin. We are going to, it says with A, which means color. So this is going to be the main color of my body that I'm going to be choosing for my entire creature. So it says chain 2. Remember, this number counts as 1. So 1 and 2. And let's move on to round number 1. So round number 1 says 6 single crochet, second chain from the hook, and then place the marker at the beginning of the round. So what we're going to do is just go into the very starting chain and just pull through, and we want a single crochet around in that center for 6 times. So that was 1, and this is 2 and 3, 4, 5 and 6. And what I want you to do is I want you to leave that tail hanging out, because then you'll know the back of the head when it comes to the final of this. And before you go any further, I want you to put in a stitch marker right on this last stitch right here. And so I'm just going to take my marker that I have, and I'm going to come in from behind, and this is just an easy way to make it really simple for you. Is just pull through just a portion of it, and then you know when you get there, then that means that you have gone all the way around. So let's move along to your next round. And with this particular project, we're going to go around in continuous circles, so we're never going to slip stitch. So you will never see slip stitching within the head of your creature. So let's begin round number 2, and round number 2 starts right here. So some people see this kind of string hanging out here. That is not the starting. Okay, it's the one just folded right in front of you there. It's just right in your face, and we want to put 2 single crochet into each stitch going all the way around. So what happens is, now that we've gone around 6 times in the last round, therefore there should be 12 stitches by the time we're left. So for myself, I would go 1 and 1, so that there's your 2, and then put in the next 2 into the next. So I would go 2 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 4 and 4 and 5 and 5, and this is your stitch marker, so it's the last stitch. So this will be 6 and 6. And before you go any further, I want you to take that stitch marker now and come in from the back side again on where you just did that, and grab that stitch marker and just pull it through, and leave this remaining area here so that you can continue to see that. So now you can safely say that you've done round number 2 and you've marked it and ready on for round number 3. So now that you have established your stitch counts to be right, because the way that you just did it, you can be sure that every time you go around, you're going to end up with the right exactly amount of stitches you need. So in round number 3, we're going to single crochet into the next stitch, and then the next one after that is 2 single crochets into that one, and we're going to repeat that all the way around. So okay, so the next one is by itself, so a single crochet, and the next one is going to have 2 single crochets in there going all the way. So 1 by itself, and the next one has 2. So we're essentially just growing this thing like it's a normal circle at this point. You see it's kind of still flat. Okay, so this one will have 2, and then 1 and 2. And here's the secret. When you're working on these things, the stitch marker is the final of stitch. So the next one is single by itself, so because this is the final, it ends up with being the double. So every time you're doing doubles and stuff, that it will be the very last stitch that you're working on. So now what I want you to do is just move that stitch marker up again, so coming from behind, or the front this time, grabbing the string and just pulling it through the base of that stitch, and you know that you've just completed round number 3. Okay, round number 4 is really easy. The next 2 single crochets are by themselves, so 1, and the next one by itself is by itself, and then the next one has 2. Okay, so we're just continually growing. So again, so the single crochet, single crochet, and the next one will have 2 single crochets inside. Keep repeating that all the way around until you get to the stitch marker, and if your math is done right, the stitch marker will be the end up with the 1 with the 2. So continue to do that. We'll meet you right back in just a moment. Move you up to round number 5. So I'm just finishing up round number 4, and as promised, your last one should be where the double exists. So there will be 2 single crochets there, and again, please move up your stitch marker, just going to the last stitch underneath and just grabbing this and pulling it through. See, I like how you can follow the line going up so that you're never lost within this project. So let's move up to round number 5. Round number 5 is just as simple, and now the next 3 are going to be by themselves. So 1, the next one, 2 is by itself, and 3 are by themselves, and then the next one there's 2 in there. So that is your same pattern throughout this particular round. So 1, and the next one's 2, the next one's 3, and then the next one will have 2 single crochets. So continue that all the way around. We'll meet back up at the stitch marker once again. So we're coming back all the way around and we're just finishing up. So 1, 2, and 3 by itself, and then of course the double falls on the stitch marker. So what do you know? So you can see that the rhythm is happening, and again I just want to move that stitch marker up so I never get lost within my project. When you don't use stitch markers, you do start second guessing if you've gone all the way around or not. So let's move up to round number 6. Round number 6 is just as simple. So let's begin. The next 4 are by themselves. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 are by themselves, single crochets, and the next one will be a double again. So 2 single crochets in there. So let's do that again. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and coming into the next one there will be 2. So continue to do that same rhythm all the way around. We'll meet back up at the stitch marker. Your head, by the way, is almost at full size. Okay, we're just finishing up around number 6, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and look where that stitch marker is, right where the ones that you want to put the double in. So that's where we're going to put 2 single crochets, and again I'm moving up that marker. So now the project is going to take a different turn of events. So let's begin, and we are just going to start off with round number 7. Now round number 7 all the way to 13 is exactly the same thing. So every time you get back to the stitch marker, count it as a round. So round number 7 all the way to 13, it's just continually single crocheting all the way around. Now this is going to cause it to bowl shape, to create a bowl, and when it does the bowl I want you to do it so the side that you're looking at is going to be doing it so that it's going to be on the outside. So this is the good side, this is the wrong side. So I want you to do it when it's doing the bend to make sure that stays on the outside. So continue rows all the way 7 to 13 on your own, single crocheting for each one, and come back. We're going to start round number 14 together, and that's where it's going to start taking a really interesting twist. Okay, so as promised, I'm back on and ready to start round number 14, and I have moved up my stitch marker as you can see, and round number 14 is kind of unusual. So this head is just not like a pill shape, it's not round, it's kind of a little different if you haven't figured it out yet. And what we have here is that round number 14 is going to get us to do a little bit of narrowing of the head to go from the back of the head to the front of the head. I was gonna say exactly what this character is, but I'm not going to. So here we go. So it's gonna say single crochet into the next single crochet for 10 times. So we're gonna do 10. So single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we have our 10 there to satisfy the pattern, and it says single crochet 2 together, which is the next. So the next one is you just go in, pull through and hold, into the next one, pull through and hold, and then now pull through all 3, and now you've just made 2 into 1. So we're going to repeat that same pattern again 2 more times. So we're going to go 1, 2, so we're just going to go to the next 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and now the next 2 are together. So pull through, go into the next one, so the single crochet 2 together, and now again for the final. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Look at that stitch marker coming back. 9 and 10, leaving you 2 stitches before the stitch marker. That means that you're right, and so pull through and pull through, and now these two are together. So that completes round number 14, and what we're going to just do is now move the stitch marker up to satisfy keeping the counts, and right now my counts are absolutely perfect. Let's move along to round number 15 next. So round number 15 is very easy. We're just going to single crochet yourself all the way around, so no fancy stitch work. The reason why we're doing this is that it allows the head to naturally decrease without just getting all of a sudden really crazy and having some weird shaping. So just single crochet all the way around for round number 15, and I'll meet you back up at the stitch marker. Start round number 16 next. Now round number 16 is really easy again, and I'm not going to show you all the way around. We're just going to abbreviate it again. So it says single crochet into the next 9 single crochets and then 2 together. So it's just like what you've done already on row number 14 where we did the 10th thing. Now it's 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and now the next 2 are together. So you're going to just continue to do that 2 more times all the way around, and you will end up back at the stitch marker again where those 2 will become the final 2 togethers for this round. So carry along round number 16. We'll meet you back up at the stitch marker and start round number 17 together. So we're at the stitch marker, and now it's time for round number 17. Very easy. This entire round we are starting just single crochet all the way around. So to meet me back up at the end of the stitch marker, and we're going to start round number 18. So again, very simple, and you're going to start noticing that the pattern is going to start pulling in on the front. So this is the back of the head here, and you're going to notice that the front of the head is going to start taking shape in just a few more minutes. So round number 18 is ready to go, and this one is really unusual. So just bear with this, because this is going to start doing some really crazy shaping to your head. So here we go. It says single crochet 2 together 6 times. So we want to do the next 2 together. So we're going to say 1, there's 1, 2 together there. So 1, and there's another one, 2, and another. This is 3. And another. This is 4, and another. It's 5, and another. It's 6. So there is our 6, and you're gonna see that it just did a sudden just dive right in the front. That's exactly what you need. So here we go. It says single crochet into the next 6 single crochets. So let's go for there. So single crochet into the next 6. So 1, and this is 2, and this is 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there is your 6 to satisfy that. And so the next 6 stitches are really interesting here. It says 2 single crochets into the next 6 stitches. So now I'll explain why that is in just a moment. So the next 6 single crochets along here, each are going to have 2 single crochets into each. So we have 1, so there was 2 in there for 1, 2 in here for 2, 2 in here for 3, 2 in here for 4, 2 in here for 5, and 2 in here for 6. And then carrying on in the instructions, what we have is single crochet into the next 6. So if this is working out right, the next 6 are just single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so what you're going to start noticing here, this is 6. This is take number 1, and the stitches are working out, which is good. But what's happening here is that you're going to start noticing that the head is going to start doing a downward turn. And essentially what's happening here is that in the front of the head it's diving down, which will be where your eyes will be eventually, and then here it's starting to dive downward and essentially giving more shape to this head. So without further ado, let's move on to round number 19 and 20. They're both the same. We are just going to single crochet ourselves all the way around for rows 19 and 20, and please do that, and when we come back we're going to be meeting up for round number 21. So carry on round numbers 19 and 20, just single crochet around. So let's begin round number 21 together. In round 21 it says single crochet into the next 3, so we're going to go 1, 2 and 3, and then it says a single crochet 2 together and repeat. Okay, so we're just going to do that. So all the way in this round is that we're just going to go 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, and 2 together. So please do that all the way around. We'll meet back up at the stitch marker, and you're really going to start seeing this shaping of the head taking place, as well as I'm going to need my fiber fill soon. So I'm going to run upstairs and get that right now. So round number 22 is really simple, just single crocheting all the way around. You can really tell on this head that it's taking its time of coming to a shape, and because of that it makes this project even more adorable because it is taking its time. So now round number 23 says single crochet into the next 2 single crochets and then single crochet 2 together around. So again 1 and 2 by itself, and then the next 2 are together, so 1 and 2. So you're really going to start seeing it dive now toward the center. So again, so 1 by itself, 2 by itself, and then 2 together. So when we come back we're gonna be at the end of this, and I'm gonna start stuffing this head, and I'm gonna be giving some pointers on putting on the eyes. So I've now just gone all the way around, and I just finished off round number 23, and now it's time to stuff the head. So I have my fiber fill. You're going to want this head to be really firm. Do not overstuff this thing so that the stitches are splaying out and everything, all the stuffing's popping out. You want it to be firm, but you don't want it to be to the point where it's being overstuffed like a garbage bag. What a description. So I want you now to fill this as much as you can on the inside, and when we come back I'll have this stuffed, and I'm going to start placing the eyes and give you tips on where the eyes should go. So here's the side profile now stuffed, and you can see me squeezing it so you can get a rough idea. You can stuff a little bit more in it if you're wanting it to be a little more firm. So here is where the eyes are. It's right in the front up here somewhere. So what we want to do is that you're looking at it, see this is here, this is a nose area. I know. So what's happening here is that this here is the underside of the head. Okay, this is the nose coming around. So hopefully you're not guessing what the shapes are too much. But what we want to do is that I want to put in my eyes at this point, and I want to look at this thing, and I need to do the eyes before I go any further, because I need to put the backing on. I need to make sure I can get on the inside. So what you can do at this point is that you can just kind of rough out where these eyes should go. So I'm just going to put one in and determine whether I like it at this point. So with the safety eyes, they have to be done at this point before you close it off. So you can do that if you wish. And again, you can always shape it afterward. So what I'm going to just do, sorry for wasting so much time, is that I want to make sure I can reach it behind now and snap that into position. So I'm going to be stretching him. So now I'm like a surgeon, getting underneath this character. So my eyes are now into position just like you see here, and it's going to be really cool, it's going to be fabulous, and now it's time to carry on, and we can add more stuffing to this as we go along. So we've left you off with doing the fiber fill area, so let's move on to round number 24 next. When we're restarting round number 24, we want to make sure that we can actually tighten everything back up. You would have loosened off your outside last stitch, so make sure you tighten it. So round number 24, very simple. We are just going to single crochet ourselves all the way around. So just like this. So please single crochet all the way around. We'll meet back up in just a moment. And we just have a couple more rounds to go. Let's move along to round number 25. Off camera, I put more stuffing in here just so you're aware, and just to make it more full. And so what I have now is single crochet into the next. So we're just going to carry on single crochet into the next, and then the next one will then be single crochet 2 together. So that's all you're going to have to do for this round. Very easy. So next one by itself, and the next 2 are together. Please do that all the way around to the stitch marker, and we are almost done this particular component. So this is round number 26. This is the final round of the day, and essentially I just put more stuffing again in between the last take and now, so you can really start seeing that the snout is really starting to lift off just like this, looking really good. So in this round here it's 2 together all the way around. So the first stitch is 1 and then 2 and then let's put them together. So please do that all the way around, and this is the final. When we come back we're just gonna grab our darning needle and just finish off his snout. So what we're doing here off camera is just that I've cut the string already, and we are just going to pull out this string that is there. So you'll notice that there's still a hole in the front. So this is where our darning needle comes into play. What we have now is that we still have remaining stitches open, but what we're gonna just do is that we're gonna seal them off with just using a darning needle, and we want to collect the stitches and pull everything shut. So we're just gonna put our needle in like this. And what I want to just do is collect the remainder stitches. Okay, so it's like a whip stitch, so just going in, and I'm gonna pull everything tight in just a moment. I just want to kind of get it around, and now what I want to do, now that I've gone all the way around, I can pull on this and everything just came nice and shut. So what I want to do now is that I want to weave in my ends really nicely here because this is going to be exposed. So what I want to do is that I want to go back on the inside of this. And do you see at my little point here, I'm making sure that I'm going in between fibers and in yarn strings so that I can just nicely separate fibers so that I can pull that through and go back in without even being noticeable. And this is kind of one of those cool things as well. So just continuing just to hide in the loose ends. Just see how I'm just jumping back and forth. And I just got to be careful when I'm going across, I don't over tighten anything, so that this is here is just meant so that I can safely just hide in the loose ends without anybody noticing. Especially if a little one is going to be playing with this thing, that you don't want them to pull apart your work. So now that I've gone back and forth 3 times, I can safely cut that out. Change it. However, so welcome back to the studio. It's now time to do the Crochet Mystery Adventure, and in this video today we are going to be making legs just like so. We need 4 legs and we need 2 ears. So whatever we're doing has 4 legs and 2 ears. Hopefully that'll narrow it down for you. So what we're going to start off with is with the legs. You are going to need your fiber fill today only for the legs. The ears are not having anything on the inside. Also going to need a stitch marker again today as we rotate, and you will find that this works off really quickly as well. We're going to be working in continuous rounds so that you'll notice that we're going to go in circles and then we're going to suddenly just change color. You will see a color change within the project, but when it's actually onto your item you will not see this. It won't be that obvious. So that's another clue. When you're working on these projects today, I need you to leave an extra long tail on both of them because we're going to be using this to sew to the main character once completed. So without further ado, let's start working on the legs. So to begin the legs, we actually have to have 2 colors. For tutorial reasons, black never films very good. So I would choose black for myself. I might choose brown. I would choose a color that is a good representation of feet, paws, or hoofs, or whatever you really want to call them, because we have no idea exactly what this thing is. So you want to do a good representation of just the base of the leg. So for tutorial reasons I'm going to use pink. You can use any colors that you wish, and what we want to do is that we need to chain 2. So this is how we're going to be doing a lot of the project as we're doing. Just like the head, we are going to be going in a continuous circle and then circling around afterwards. So make sure you have your stitch marker available to you. So let's chain 2. Remember this first one, that slip knot never counts as 1. So 1 and 2. And what we need to do then is just 6 single crochet second chain from the hook, which is the starting. So we're just going to go into the very first one and do 6 single crochet. So 1, and we have 2 and 3 and 4, 4, and then 5 and 6. So we are using Red Heart with Love, just so you're interested, if you're interested. So on the final one here, I want to put in the stitch marker so that I can be able to measure going in circles. So if you've been following the other tutorial, this is how I did it. So I just put in a stitch marker and I move it up throughout the project. I'm going to show you a cheating technique actually once we get the bottom of these feet or legs determined. I'm trying not to slip up on exactly what we're doing. So what we're going to do now is that we're just going to go in a continuous circle all the way around, so we're never going to slip stitch on this thing. So let's move up to round number 2. So in round number 2 we want to put 2 single crochets into each of the stitches, and there should be 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So 6 is the last one that we have. Don't get confused by this middle area here. The first stitch is right there. So you might see this coming up. That's just normal. We just want to bypass that and go into the very first. So the trick is just to make sure you only have 6 going on. So we're going to put 2 single crochets around in each. So to verify this, because you want every leg to be the same, here's what I would do for you, is that you just put in 2 there. I would say that was 1, and then put in 2 here, say that's 2, put in 2 again, this is 3, and then 4 and 5, and look at that, we're on the stitch marker, so that means that we're on the 6th one, which is what we want. So we'll put in 2 there, and then once you have that second one in there, move that stitch marker up to the last stitch you just did, and that'll complete off that round. It is so critical. If you're off by 1 stitch with these legs, it's very, very obvious because the item is so small. So let's move along to round number 3 next. So round number 3 is really simple. We're going to start off with the first stitch being a single crochet. So we're still growing the leg so to be thicker, and so the next one is going to have 2 single crochets. So we're going to repeat that all the way around. So the next one is 1 by itself, so single crochet. The next one will have 2. Okay, so 1, and this one will have 2, and continue to do this. You will find that the legs will work up really quickly. So if you're thinking, whoa, you know, this is a lot of work, yeah, you will find once you get beyond this growing stage, it really does work up pretty fast. So if your math is done right, the last stitch marker will always have the 2 into it, and so I just put in 2 there, so this is going to be 1, and so this is the stitch marker. It'll have 2, and it just naturally works out like that. So that gives you an indication. If you ended up there and you only had to put 1 there because there's 2 in the stitch beside it, you know that you've messed up somewhere, so you got to fix it. So move up that stitch marker. Okay, round number 4 is just a simple, and this is when we stop growing the project, and we're just going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around to the stitch marker. So we're just going to blaze our way around this circle, and now the project is going to start to bowl in because this is the bottom of the legs, and the legs are a representation of this creature. It's not really an accurate representation, I should say. It's more of a whimsical representation, if that helps you. If any clues, I'm trying to drop clues without being so obvious. Okay, so we're all the way back around. That completes, just got 1 more to do, 2 more to do. 1, okay, and once we get to the stitch marker, please move that stitch marker up 1 again. And what we want to do for round number 5 is that we want to rotate 1 more time. So continue to do that, and we're going to meet back up on the stitch marker, and I'm going to show you what to do because we're now done the bottom part of the leg. That's how fast it goes. So we've been crocheting like this in a circle. I want you to flip it like this. Okay, so we're going to continue to go, but this time we're going to go around the outside. We don't want to go in the bowl shape and come around. It's just easier to do this way, and this is the side that should be out anyway. So I've got as far as the stitch marker. I have actually stitched before because I want to change the color. So we're just going to automatically start to single crochet into the next stitch, but I want you to bring on the next color instead. So instead of finishing the stitch, I want you just to loop on, okay, another color, which is the color of the main leg itself. Just loop it in, and what I want you to do is just grab some scissors and cut that string, the old pink, out, and I want you to grab the new color and the stragglers of the old colors. Okay, make sure you don't get your stitch marker confused in that, and I want you to start single crocheting in a circle again, and always the first part of this is always a pain. So you just gotta pull things tight just to bring everything back in balance. But when you do it, you make sure it's on top of the line so you can vary the color change just like you see. So in the very beginning I showed you how we're continue to go around and all of a sudden we change the color. That's exactly how it goes. So what I want you to do is that I want you to continue to go around in a circle 7, or from rounds number 6 all the way through 17. So here's my tip on being able to speed through this process without having to move the stitch marker. You can clearly count on how many rows you are doing here. So what I want you to do is rounds number 6 all the way through 17, and I want you to fasten off. And you don't have to move the stitch marker because you can literally see and count your rows going up. So save yourself some time, go through this and continue to go, single crochet all the way around to you get to round number 17, and then at the end I want you just to fasten off, and I want you to leave an extra long tail, and then I want you to stuff the leg and put the leg in your box, and then do 3 more legs. Now the character will be sitting on top of these legs, so you want to make sure that they're relatively firm, but not to the point where their skin is exploding with fluff. Sorry. Yeah, so you just, because I've seen some heads already on the Facebook where they're overstuffed. It's fun. So anyway, this is going to be using this. So when this character is standing, they will be using their legs. So you want the legs to be so that it's not too wobbly, that it's going to be all over the place. Like a hippopotamus on skates. So there you go. So that will conclude off your legs. Let's move on to your ears next. So let's begin to do the ears. The ears are so simple and they are flexible. They are moldable when it comes to being on your creature. At the end of this you can actually embroider inside the ear if you wanted to have more color. Now in the original pattern the ears are the same color as the body, but you can opt to change it. In my case I decided to give the ears a different color other than the body just because I can. So I'm just using a teal here, and it's going to be a really amazing idea. So grab your stitch marker and your yarn and let's get hooking. So let's begin to do your ears. We are going to start off with a slip knot, and we are going to insert a hook. So let's begin. We are going to chain 2. So this is very beginning. Most of this pattern starts off the same way, which is why I love it. So 1 and 2. So it's chain 2, and now we're going to put 6 single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Where have we seen that before? On the legs? That's what I'm talking about. Have you seen it on the head? Will you see it again? Oh yeah. So we're gonna do 6 single crochet going around. Oh my word. I think this yarn, all these yarn fumes are making me crazy over time. Or it's definitely the women on Facebook, what can I say. So we have 6 single crochet going all the way around. I want you to put in a stitch marker again, just like this. These ears are really fun. You know what, you'll be able to use this design on other stuff. If you're ever working on other projects, you'll really love them. So let's put in our stitch marker on the 6th one before we begin and move up to round number 2. And I'm sorry, I got the giggles. So let's begin round number 2 next. So we're back again, and let's get working on this item here. And what we're going to do is that we're going in a continuous round, and there will be 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This whole doohickey area over here, don't worry about that. That's part of the starting point. So a lot of people, that's where a lot of people mess up. That's why I love these continuous rounds. Once you get beyond this, everything is perfect. So it says single crochet into the next 2 single crochets. So I'm gonna single crochet, and this is how I do it, is that you want to make sure you end up back at the stitch marker anyway. So and I've already counted it anyway. So we're going to do 1 single crochet. I'm gonna pull it. See how loose I did that? I'm gonna make it sure it's tighter. Just your tension is really important. This is an item that will be part of the characteristic of it. So 1 single crochet in the first. The next one is a single crochet, and then the next one is 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2, and so we only have 3 stitches left. So what do you think it is? It's 1 single crochet, the next one is 1 single crochet, and then the stitch marker is going to be 2 single crochets in there. So 1 and 2, and what I want you to do is that I want you to move the stitch marker up. So let's move the stitch marker up to capture that last stitch so that we know exactly where it is. Okay, round number 3 is really easy. All we're just going to do is start on the very next stitch and single crochet all the way around. And what you're doing is that you're looking at the right side. I want you to flip it so that the middle comes towards your face, because that is the right side and that's the side that will be visual. And you should flip it now because this project is really going to start to take a dramatic turn, because it doesn't waste any time of growing because the way that the ear is shaped. So for round number 3 we are just single crocheting yourself all the way around. Not a lot of stitches. The ears again work up really quick. For people that are making multiple projects, you will love that concept. And again, once you get to the stitch marker, just crochet over it and then move up your stitch marker so that you can keep count of exactly where you are. So let's move up to round number 4, and round number 4 is really easy again, just being able to identify your stitches. And what we're just going to do is a single crochet into the next single crochet and then 2 single crochets into the next. Okay, so we're just going to start off with the first one. Okay, so we're just going to go there. So 1 single crochet in there, and then the next one is going to be 2 single crochets. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. So that means that the next one is by itself 1 single crochet, and the next one has 2. Okay, and so then we have 1 by itself, and then the next one is 2. And just like the legs, when we ended up with the stitch marker, the last one should always have the 2 on there. So and that happens to be right. And once you get there, please move up your stitch marker once again. Let's begin round number 5. Round number 5 is really simple. Just a single crochet all the way around the ear. Okay, round number 6 is identical to round number 4, and what we're just going to do is start off with a single crochet, and then the next one will be 2 single crochets into the same one. So again, we're growing this evenly. So 1 single crochet, the next one will be 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and it'll be 2, 1 single crochet, next one is 2, 1 single crochet, next one is 2, and it works out that you got 1 single crochet and then the stitch marker, and again that ends up being the one you have to put 2 in, which means that we are right. So that completes off round number 6. Move up your stitch marker again. Okay, rounds number 7 to 9 are really simple. All we're just going to do is start off and just do single crochet, and we're going to single crochet around and around from rounds number 7 to 9. Please do that now, and when we come back I'll have that done, and every time of course you pass the stitch marker, make sure you move it up and count it as a round. So rounds number 7, 8, and 9, so 3 rotations, and then we'll meet back up and start making this so that it comes in and narrow to be able to attach to your creature. So rounds number 7, 8, and 9 are now complete, and now it's time for round number 10, and this is where we're going to start bringing the ear back in to a pointing kind of shape on the other side. It's not going to end up in a point, but it's just for that's what I'm telling you. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off in the front first one, and we're going to do 2 together all the way around. So single crochet 2 together. So the first one, so we're just going to, how do you do that is this, you go into the first stitch, pull the yarn through, and then go into the next stitch, pull the yarn through, and you have 3 loops on your hook. Just grab the yarn and pull through all 3, and those 2 stitches just became 1. So we're going to go to the next one, go to the next one, and put 2 together just like this, and do that all the way around on this round. So essentially you're just cutting your whole rotation by half, because every 2 is becoming 1, and you will notice a sharp change in your ear or your character's ear, and this is really an interesting idea. So you can see that these ears are really no problem. There's only 2 of them to make, and we still have one, oops, that was a single crochet. We still have one more revolution to do after this, and just bringing it. So if you've done it right, the last stitch marker here is the very last two together. And move up your stitch marker one more time. This will be the last time you do it for this particular ear. You'll have to do two of these. And so let's finish off with round number 11. So for round number 11, let's begin. We are just going to single crochet just once all the way around. And now that you've cut everything in half, you will notice that it's a very quick revolution. They don't recommend in the pattern to stuff this ear, and if you do stuff it, you'll lose the opportunity to be able to shape the ear afterward, or to have the ear go on in a certain way. So don't stuff your ear. You can always make decisions later if you wish, but what I want you to do is once you get to the end, this is the very end, I want you just to fasten off, and I want you to leave an extra long tail because we're going to use that to sew in afterward to your creature. And so just grab the yarn and just kind of pull through like this, and pull out your stitch marker like that, and voila. So you can actually put your hand or finger inside of the ear, but that's what makes it moldable and shapeable. So the question is that, and you're not to attach your ear or anything yet, but where do you put the ear? Do you put it to the side? Do you put it so that it's hanging down? Do you put it so it's up like this? What other ways can you do ears, or like that? So let's start our project today. We are going to do 12 of these little round circles. They go really quickly, and in today's portion of this I'm going to show you an easy way to be able to maintain this in order to really avoid the stitch markers, but also make sense of it so everyone ends up being perfect. So let's grab our yarn. I'm going to be using red because when I cross compare it to the body, I really am looking for the character to have a nice contrast of whatever we're doing. Oh, I almost spoiled it all for myself. So this is why I've chosen that. So you can do more subtle colors if you wish. I think the contrasting is more interesting. So let's begin. We're going to start off with a slip knot, and let's get started. So to get started and to make it a lot more easier for yourself, I want you to chain 2, so 1 and 2, and I want you to come into the very beginning chain, and I want you to single crochet 6 times around. So count it as you go. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Now normally in crochet patterns you'd want to mark that with a stitch marker, but you don't need to because you want to go really super fast, right? So we can see that we have 6 stitches here. So we got one. See this loop? That's going to look like that. You want to ignore that. So it's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So you know that you're right. So how I did this to make it faster is that I'm going to immediately come into the first one. So I'm moving up to round number 2. I'm immediately coming into the next one, and I have to put 2 single crochets into each one of these around. So if there's 6 here, that means that there's going to be 12 by the time I'm left. So how I did it is that I single crochet and I say 1, and I'm going to single crochet into again say 1. So okay, so I'm going to go to the next one. I'm putting 2 in that one too. So I'm going to go 2 and 2, and then I'm going to go to the next one. So 3 and 3. Then I'm going to go to the next one, 4 and 4. Okay, and then I want to come into the next one, so 5 and 5. This is the last one, and 6 and 6. So now I have my 12 in here. So what I'm going to just do now is that I'm just going to come into the very first one here, pull through and through, and I want to cut this to have about maybe about 1.5 feet length, and I'm going to use that afterward in order to sew it into position. I want to grab the yarn, pull through the loop like so, and just put it aside. And what I want you to do at this point, see this how it's come out to the end? I want you to come under the next one and grab that string and pull it behind. So when you go to start working with this, the yarn is already in behind, so when you go to sew on, you won't have a spot that's actually sticking out of place. So please do 12 of these, and hopefully that'll speed you up just like it did for me. So let's begin to do the tail. I want to leave an extra long beginning because I may have to use that afterward, and I want to begin to do a slip knot. And I'm going to use the same color that I did with the body so that the creature looks uniform. Again, I almost messed up. And I want to chain 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And let's move on to the next part. For my next trick, which is the same instruction, I want to come second chain from the hook, and I want to single crochet myself all the way back. This is how easy this tail is, and when we get to the other side we're just going to fasten off, and this concludes doing this portion of the tail. But we want to create some extra stuff on the end of the tail, and that's what we're going to do next. So let's just get all the way to the end, fasten off, and let's work on our next part of this project. So when you get all the way to the end, just come out to the end and fasten off, and I want to leave an extra long tail just in case I need it, and I want to pull through the loops just like this. So do that, and now we're going to create, we're not yet done the tail, we're going to create something. So I'm going to leave this out to the side, and I'm going to play with this side that has no strings, and that's the next portion of this. So with our material, and I'm going to use the same color that I did, you know what, I'm going to use the red, and we need to cut 4 lengths of 10 inches. So I'm just going to look at 10 and just kind of rough it out and just get my 10 like so. You know, it's an unusual character. So I just want to cut the loops out of my yarn strings, and now I have 4 lengths of 10 inches, and it may be a little bit less. And what I need you to do then is that I need you to fold it in half so that they're roughly equal, and now I want you to grab the end of the tail that has no strings to it, and I want you to put your hook right in the very last area of the tail, grab the yarn and pull through like this, and so now you'll have a loop. And what I would strongly recommend before you tie anything, just make sure that the strings are relatively the same length. So I just missed one there, so you want to make sure you capture everything going across. It's good also to show my errors on camera just so that you don't think I'm perfect, but also how to correct if you need to. So I just put the other one back in. I want to make sure that the strings are relatively the same going all the way, and I just want to feed this string, the strings all through this loop like so, and I want to pull tight. Okay, so that's how you'll just do it, and don't trim this. We'll wait till the end of the project, where once it's on your project you can determine how long you want to do, and of course if you want it much longer you can always just redo that really easily as well. So that concludes doing your tail. And for my final trick today, I want to add a few more facial features. Today I want to add the mouth, and I want to add some nostrils. So that just makes total sense. And these things here are more whimsical looking than anything. So you can determine whether your character is going to have a smile. You can also wait until the end of the crochet mystery to determine where exactly you want to put this. So I'm just going to slip mine in behind here, down here, and I find faces are the hardest thing to do. I've created a slip knot, and I'm just going to slip that around here. So I just get it, and basically I'm just want to just make it kind of give a little smile, and again you can determine whether to do this at the end, but all I want to just do is come around a few stitches and just create almost like a little happy little smile, and when you get a gap you just want to go back over it and then come out somewhere else in the smile like this. And what I normally do is that I come back afterward and I kind of go over it one more time. So you see how I'm just kind of spinning around and just getting it done like this. Okay, so I just want to take my time and work on the smile for this particular thing, and then what we need to do is once we get our smile completed, so you can see my smile is kind of weird at this moment, but once I get my smile completed I want to then begin to do the nostrils. And what I do is that I grab enough, I have enough string on my character that when I come back all I want to do is that to do the nostrils I'm just going to sneak up underneath the project like so, and I just want to come up over the edge and then back in for one stitch and then come up again. So off camera I'm going to redo this whole thing. I want more time to be able to work on the smile a little bit, and so then essentially you have your nostrils. So I think I did really good on the nostrils. It's just a smile. It's a little bit worrisome, so I can just play with this whole concept a bit, and now I just have my nostrils. So that's all I want you to do today, and we'll meet you back next week as we continue along and I need to do something about this mouth. It just drives me crazy. What you just need to do after you're done this as well is just come back and start hiding in your loose ends as well. Make sure everything is extra secure. So until next time. So let's start off today. We're going to make the horns, and we need 2 of these little horns. See that there's a little line here? That's because we're going to do something fun in the stitch to create that little line. So let's begin. We're going to continue to use red. Your color could be anything that you want to. Remember, you don't necessarily have to follow the color pattern in order to complete this. So we're going to just start off with the slip knot, and I want you to chain 2. So 1 and 2, and now go to the very beginning chain, or the second chain from the hook, whatever you want to call it, and just single crochet in to that first one 6 times. So that was 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, just like so. So before you move on, I want you to put a stitch marker right in this first one here, right where underneath that loop, and that is going to represent every time you're rotating around the horn. So every time you get there, you know you've completed a round, and that just helps you stay organized. So let's move along to the next part of this project. Just like the rest of this project, we're going to work in continuous rounds. We're no longer going to slip stitch, so you don't see that. Now the first one here is that you have to identify that you have 6 stitches on this ring. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This little loopy thing, that's just as a result of just starting off. So don't get confused by that for adding that. Now every stitch that you're going to go around is that you're going to put in 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2. So if you have 6 going all the way around and you're going to put 2 in each, that means that your numbers are going to double to 12 when you're done. So that helps you stay balanced, and this is just a really easy way to be able to do this. So that white stitch marker that I have represents when I have gotten to the last one around. Now the horns are only going to take you just a few minutes. You can speed off those pretty quickly, and that's what makes it a fun little project. So don't forget to get that final one in the white in, and on the last one, which is the second one of that same one, I want you to move your hook underneath, grab the stitch marker, pull it through. So now the stitch marker is now moved up, and that completes that round. So round number 3 is about to start. We just immediately jump to the very first the next stitch, and we are going to single crochet ourselves all the way around. Now you had 12 going all the way around. This means that when you single crochet 1 into each, it's going to stay at 12. Therefore you're going to start seeing the project round off. Now do it so that the middle part is going to project toward your face. Okay, so just make sure that when you get all the way around, as you get further around, it's going to start bowling for you anyway, like making a bowl shape. And just single crochet all the way around. Now round number 4 is really super easy. Now we're going to start decreasing it so that the top is larger than the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into the very first one, but we're going to come into the back loop only. So if you're unfamiliar with back loops, there are 2 strings there that represents a stitch. You go in the first one, that represents the front loop. Go in the back one, that is the back loop. So we're going to do 2 single crochet together. So we're going to go into the first one, grab the yarn, pull through, go into the next one, grab the yarn, pull through. You now have 3 stitches on your hook. So what we're going to do is grab the yarn and pull through 2. I'll pull through all 3 loops. Those 2 stitches just became 1. So we had 12 going around by the time we get around on this one. So let's go to the next back loop, pull through, next back loop, let's pull through, and then pull through all 3, and those 2 just became 1. So, and you can start seeing that line that I pointed out before is starting to materialize right before your eyes. So let's keep doing that all the way around, putting 2 together, and you will notice that the project will start to do a nice indentation inward. Now rounds 5 and 6 are absolutely identical. We're just going to start off with the next stitch, single crochet, and please single crochet all the way around. We're now back to 6 stitches going all the way around. Cut the yarn for long enough so that you can use it as a sewing tail, and just simply wrap the yarn around the hook, pull through like this, pull out your stitch marker like that. I want you to make another one, and I want you to just put some fiber fill inside this to hold its shape. So that concludes the end of the horns. So the next item I want you to make, just leave an extra long tail here, is I want you to make the mane of the giraffe. Now you can make the main bigger if you want to, if you can figure out the stitches, but today we're only gonna ask you to chain 35. So remember, this never counts as one, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 go all the way to 35, and when we back up, this is a really quick process as well. Now that you have your chain done, I need you to put 7 double crochets in the 4th chain from the hook. So you're gonna look for 1, 2, 3, and 4. Turn this over and get the back loop only, and you'll have a really nice finish. So just go in the back loop only, and I want you to put in 7 double crochets right in that same one. So we're gonna do that. So 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 6, and 7. Simply now just skip 3 stitches, so 1, 2, and 3, and then go to the 4th, and you're going to do 7 more double crochets right into that same spot, and you're essentially creating the back main of this. I want you to do that all the way through. This is number 2, this is 3, and 4, and 5, 6, and 7. Again, you're going to skip 3, so 1, 2, and 3, go to the 4th, and do another 7, and do that all the way down to the end. I'll meet you at the end of the line, and basically once it's on your giraffe, you're going to sew it down, and it will look like that going down the back of the spine. When you get to the end of the line, all I just want you to do is this right at the very end, just do a single crochet, and I want you to fasten off. Now I want you to leave an extra long tail here, because we need to go down all the way to the spine to attach this to the back of the giraffe. So leave an extra long tail at this moment, and we're just going to fasten off, and it's gonna look all kind of like wriggly on you right now, but when you go to put this on your giraffe, you're going to sew down this middle seam all the way down, and you can see when you pull it apart like this, it's gonna be a really fabulous mane for your giraffe. Sorry, I forgot what it was. Let's begin the next part of this tutorial. For the next part of this tutorial, we are going to work on the body. You will notice that the body does have a shape. It comes around to the back like so, more flush here in the front, and so when you turn it around, you can see it's more bottomed out over here, more narrow here. So this is not just one of those projects where the designer has decided to make the whole body just one particular shape, and then you have to use your imagination. She's actually given it so that it actually is holding its shape. You're going to need an extra long stitch marker just like so, so we can follow our stitches around. The neck and body are one unit, and it is probably the most labor intensive of this entire project, and if you follow it step by step, you're gonna find that it's gonna work out really cool for you. So let's begin. I'm gonna use the blue like I've been normally using on the head and the legs. I obviously changed the colors for the ears, and that was just a personal preference of mine. So let's begin right now. Okay, we're going to start off with the top of the neck area, and I just want to leave an extra long tail like so. We're going to actually use this tail to sew it to the head. So just leave an extra long so you can actually deal with it, and I want you to create a slip knot. We're going to start off with the top of the neck and then work our way down to the base. And so let's begin. We're going to chain 24, and we want to slip stitch in the beginning chain to form a ring. So remember, this never counts as one, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go all the way to 24. We'll meet you back up in just a moment. When you get all the way to your 24, I want you to do a slip stitch, and basically you want to make sure that this ring is not twisted in any way. So just makes it easier. Just come into the very beginning like so and attach it with a slip stitch. So we're just going to just grab the yarn and pull through both like so, and I just want you to create an extra long loop here, and I want you to put the stitch marker in the stitch right before this, and that will represent your revolutions as we're going around. So be able to do that here. So I'm going to use the red line as my marker going all the way around like so, just like this, and then that will complete off in the ring. So let's begin the next part. Okay, round number 1 is really simple. We are going to do a continuous join as we go around. That means that we're not going to slip stitch, and we've just joined here, so our next first stitch is right here. and we are just going to single crochet ourselves around all the way. It is really imperative that you ensure that you do have only 24 stitches going around in a circle, as it will throw off your bottom base if you're off by any stitches. So this is the row to determine if your stitch counts are off. You are going to want to make sure you double count to make sure you only have 24. Even if you just have to put 2 stitches together or just restart, it's better off than it is trying to get to the bottom of this and realizing that you're off and that your body's starting to do a really wild twist. So let's meet you back up in just a second. I'm gonna count, making sure I have my 24 as indicated. Okay, so I've gone all the way around. I moved my stitch marker up when I hit that last stitch, and I have verified that I do have 24. Before going on to this process, you're going to want to make sure that this line here is not twisted in any way, so that you're not ending up with a weird twist like an infinity scarf. So you got to make sure that when you follow around any one edge that you're going to end up on the same side. So if it was turned over the other way, it'll be on the wrong side. So now that I've done that, rows number 2 to 24 are all identical, and what we're going to do is just simply single crochet around and around and around, and on your piece of paper you should write between 2 all the way down to 24. So 1 2 or 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 all the way to 24, and as you pass this stitch marker, move it up as you hit this stitch to the next layer and count it as a revolution. When we come back, we're gonna have 24 of these rows complete, and we'll move on and we'll start doing the base of the body. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the 24 rounds of stitches. It really will go fast, so trust me on that. So I've just finished off row number 24, and we're about to start. Looks like I'm giving this character some surgery. And okay, and now it's a tube all the way around. This is the same width going from start to finish. So the top here is where the head is, and now we're going to start making the bottom thicker as we head toward the bottom. So let's begin. We are going to do round number 25. It says single crochet in the next 3 single crochets and then 2 single crochets into the next, and repeat all the way around. So what you want to do is that we're going to start off, and the next 3 are single crochet by themselves. So 1 2 and 3 like this, and then the next one is going to have 2. So 1 and 2. So we're going to repeat that all the way around. Okay, so the next one is 1 by itself, 2 by itself, 3 by itself, and then the next one has 2. Repeat that all the way around to the stitch marker. We'll meet back up and continue with round number 26. When you get all the way around to the stitch marker, you should know that the last one will automatically be the 2. If your math works out that it just happens to be following that the 2 single crochets in the same one will be on the last. So I haven't fudged anything, that's exactly where it should be. Let's move up that stitch marker, and we're going to move you up to the next round. So let's begin to do that next, and what we need to do is round number 26. It says single crochet in the next 12 single crochets and then 2 single crochets into the next 6 single crochets. Okay, so this is where we're going to start making the base a little weird. So let's begin. We're going to do single crochet in the next 12. So let's count this out. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7 and 8 9 10 11 and 12. So those are out there, and so it says to do 2 single crochets into the next 6 single crochets. So this is going to be 2 in here, so let's just say 1 and 1. The next one is 2 and 2, and then the next one is 3 and 3. The next one is 4 and 4. The next one is 5 and 5, and the next one is 6 and 6. So then continuing all the with that same thing, it says single crochet into the next 12 single crochets. So if this works out, there should be 12 between here and all the way back to the stitch marker over here. So let's just do this on camera, see if it works out. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, and 12 takes you back to the stitch marker. So that worked out perfectly. So what's happened on this round is that we kept the front as if it's going down flush, but then we've kind of given it so that the one part is going to look like it's starting to jet backward on you. Okay, so that's exactly what we're doing at this point. So let's move along to your next round. Okay, rounds number 27 and 28 are both identical. All we're just going to do is single crochet into each stitch going all the way around. So please do that for rounds number 27 and 28. The reason for this is that we need to have this grow gradually, and by doing this it'll make it have a better shape. So continue to go single crochet all the way around for rows number 27 and 28. So rows number 27, 28 are done, and now it's time for row number 29. And row number 29, it says single crochet in the first 15 single crochet, and then 2 single crochets in the next 6, and then single crochet in the final 15. So what we want to do is that we're going to start off with, okay, and we're just going to immediately start off. We're going to single crochet into the first 15. So that was 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So now we're ready for the 2 single crochets into each one, and this allows it to still continue to grow on the back of the body. So then the next 6 are going to be 2 single crochets. So I would do 1 and 1, so 2 single crochets in there, and 2 and 2, and 3 and 3, and 4 and 4, and 5 and 5, and 6 and 6. And now that you have that done, single crochet yourself all the way back to the stitch marker and move it up, and we'll continue on the next round at that point. Okay, rounds number 30 and 31 are both identical. Just continue to go around twice, so 1 each, 30 and 31 for single crochet, and I'll meet you back up when that is done. So continue single crochet for rounds 30 and 31. And welcome to round number 32, and 32 is the last time we're going to be increasing this, so this is the very last time. So we're going to single crochet into the next 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And now what we need to do is the next 6 will be 2 single crochets in the same one. So we're going to go 1 and 1, and 2 and 2, and 3 and 3, and 4 and 4, and 5 and 5, and 6 and 6. So now what I need you to do is single crochet all the way back to the stitch marker, which would be another 18, and let's meet back up there. So we're now finished that. We're on to rows number 33 all the way to 42, and they're all just strictly single crochet around. So this is going to start off with 33. So what I wanted to do, a piece of paper, 33, 34, 35, all the way to 42. As you pass the stitch marker here, just mark it as being going all the way around, and you will notice at the bottom of the body it will start to stabilize, and then we're going to start decreasing from that point. So please single crochet all the way from 33 to 42, and I'll meet you back up in just a moment. So this is what it looks like. We have now just completed off round number 42, and so you can see that the front of the body is nice and flush. Pretty much it has a little bit of a bulge out, which it should, and then the back of the body comes out through the back and then gives it a rear end. So now it's up to us to start pulling this thing together to pull the butt in shape at the bottom so we can wear some apple bottom jeans. So let's begin. We are going to do round number 43. 43 says single crochet into the next 6 and then 2 in the next. So for the next several rotations we're going to start decreasing everything. So let's begin. We're going to do 6 single crochet, and that was 3 and 4, 5 and 6. So you got your 6 in, the next 2 belong together, so we're just going to go in, pull through and hold, the next one in, pull through and hold, and then pull through 2, and so those two just became 1. Continue that same pattern going all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then the next 2. So what I want to do for the next several rotations, I'm going to show you the very first part, and basically it's a repeat pattern going all the way around, and you can understand that as you go. I'd also start recommending that you start putting in some fluff, the fiber fill right in the neck now. It's very easy to get your hands in right now, so I would recommend that you do that. So when you come back, you're gonna see me have some of the neck filled within, because once it gets really tight, it's really hard to fill in this base area plus fill in the neck. So do that as well. It's now time for row 44, and we are going to do single crochet in the next 5. So just again the next 5, and then the next 2 are together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then the next 2 are together. So 1 and 2. Bring together. Continue that same pattern all the way around. Now the neck has to have fiber fill in it, and it has to be firm because it has to hold that head up, and it has to be able to stand without it flopping. So when you go to stuff this, you got to make sure it's really firm, but just it's going to relax over time, so you do want to fill it as much as you can without making it explode. So it's a fine trick to do. So hopefully you got your fiber fill in. We're going to add a little more as we go, but right now we can always add more from the top if we have to as well. So continue that same pattern. So single crochet for 5, and the next 2 are together all the way around, and that'll complete off round number 44. Let's begin row number 45, and we have single crochet in the next 4. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the next 2 are together, and continue that same pattern going all the way around. You might want to put a little bit more fiber fill in after this one as well. So single crochet 4 in a row, the next 2 are together all the way around. Round number 46 is single crochet in the next 3, and then 2 together. So continue to do that. So 1, 2, and 3, and then the next 2 are together, and continue to stuff this with fiber fill as we go. So remember, 3 single crochets in a row, and then 2 together, and you do really want this to be relatively firm. Okay, round number 47 is 2 single crochets in a row, and then 2 together. So 1 and 2, and see how stuffed my animal is? It's actually bleeding stuff. But we want to make sure it is nice and firm. So, and then the next 2 are together. So 2 single crochets, 2 together, and continue to do that. See how the stitch is a little bit too loosey-goosey? I want to make sure I capture that properly. It's something you can't correct afterwards. So single crochet 2 in a row, and then 2 together. And finally, for round number 48, we want a single crochet in the next single crochet, and then 2 together. So we're just going to do that. So just the first one will be a single crochet going in, and then 2 together. And what we need to do, this is the very last round, so what we're going to do is leave a very long tail, and what we're just going to do is go around and just weave in all the extra stitches that are left, and then pull it nice and tight together and finish off the bottom. So continue to do that, 1 single crochet, and then 2 together all the way around. So this concludes the base, and now we're just going to fasten off. We're going to leave an extra long tail, and we just want to pull that string out just like this. And what I want to do with this remaining of the string is that I want to put on my darning needle and just simply go in and out of these stitches. So in and out, and then pull it together like a clothesline, and then finish it off just like so. So I'll meet you back in just a moment. So to begin the sewing, all I just need you to do is just continue to go in the same direction you've been going in, but this time just take your darning needle and go in and out of the stitches and start collecting them as you go around. So go one. Okay, so I'm now just going to hold the string and just pull everything, and everything will just come to a nice complete close at the bottom, like so. Okay, so then what I want to do then is take this string and just go in and out a few times of the extra back and forth, just to bring it nice, and this will be then the base of your giraffe. And here we have it. We have the base, and you can see that the bottom is now down, so this would be the back end if it was up. And then I left a little bit of a hole here just in case I can stuff more fiber fill in it later, and it's something it doesn't say to do, but I know I've done this pattern before, that I just want to make sure I have enough, and then I have the bottom done just like this. So now it's time for the assembly of this project. This is the fun thing. I provided a photo online so that you can see where all the components go. In the next part of this tutorial I'm going to show you some tips and tricks in order to make the legs work. The legs are really tough, and we'll carry on from that point. So let's begin to attach the legs, and my biggest issue is that my legs, when I first attached it to the model that you have been seeing in the yellow, is that my legs were out of alignment. So what I want you to do, here's how I'm gonna get around it this time, is that I want to take it from the center and I want to count out 6 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm gonna put a stitch marker there, and I'm gonna follow that row around, because you can think, oh, I could just follow it around. You really can't. So I'm just gonna keep going around like this, and I'm just putting it underneath that round 6 so that I can be sure that when I'm attaching this, that I'm still on the same rounds going all the way around. Doesn't say to do this. This is just my own idea on making it simple for me. Now you will have to respect that the fact that you've been going in a continuous circle, so if you continue to rotate this around, that this row 6 will eventually get closer to the inside. So you want to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 that you continue to stay on the same wavelength. So the legs, when they're being attached to the body, that this is the maximum that they are going to come on the outside of the body on below. So right now if you follow this around, you'll see that it's in a different row. And so I want to just make sure I continue to, I'm just going to make sure, see I'm jumping from one row to another so I can match it just like this. So when you look at the bottom and the base of the other one, essentially all the legs are working on the same row going all the way around, and now we want to be able to measure them on the inside. So I'm going to grab another stitch marker, 2 of them actually, and I'm going to go across so that I can be able to nail what is the front and the back of this creature. So it's really hard to tell sometimes where the actual front and the back of this is. So I just want to make sure I'm continuing to look at it and determining, because it's got a natural spiral to it, because of crochet does that, is that it's not always easy to follow it straight down when you're working on the back. So I'm just going to eye it up and just kind of look at it. I'm going to say, okay, this is going to be the top. And then I'm going to look at it from this point of view. Is it really the top, or is it just slightly over? What I want to do is that I want to grab one of these strings, and I'm just going to come in over here, and it's up on a diagonal, and I want to put a diagonal across the base of this creature. And again, I never did this on the original. I just thought I should have done it in the end, because I want to make sure I get these legs right. And I want to just come down on a diagonal so that it crisscrosses each other. So if the legs were in balance with each other, the one leg would be here, the one opposite would be way over here. And I want to do that for 2 crisscrosses, just like this. So then the next one, it would be from, looking at it, coming the other direction down. So just grabbing another stitch marker and just kind of eyeing it up over here like this. So I'm just lying it out just the way that I think it needs to be, and then come down on an angle. And the whole point is that I want to try to get these legs so that this thing in the middle is a complete cross, so that we know that if we attach the legs, then the legs are going to be okay. They're going to be perfectly from each other, just like this. I don't know how other people normally do it, but this just makes sense to me. So now I can classify that if I'm working on this creature, I want to make sure that if I attach it, I want to look at it so that the legs look like they're going to be in the right position. If this is the front of the body, and then this is the back, just like so. So I want to be able to determine that next. So please take your time and do that, and then we'll come back in just a moment. I'm now going to start attaching my legs, and what I need to make sure is that if you remember when you went around, you have this jumping space right here. I would turn that so that if it's on the inside of the creature, so if for example I'm doing this leg here over here, okay, and this is the front of the character, I would want to make sure that it's turned on the inside so that you could look on the outside of this and you'll never see that unless you're looking at it from underneath. So that is your next step. So let me just show you another tip from do. at this moment. Now that you know where your legs are roughly supposed to be, what I would recommend that I never did in the very beginning is that I do want to make sure that this is on the inside, this jumping space, and I want to come on top. So I'm going to come here, and you got to make sure these legs are nice and filled. Okay, and what I would recommend is grab a pin or a safety pin and just roughly pin the leg to where you think it needs to be, and pin it on the front of the leg like this, and pin it again on the back on the underside, and do that for all 4 legs, and then you can determine if the legs are going to be in the right position at that point. So now what I need you to do is, now that they're all pinned in position, stand the creature up. Make sure that the legs are in line with the body. So you want to make sure that you're following the back, and like so, and once you're happy with it, sew your legs into position. When we come back, my legs will be attached. So my legs are now in place, and it works out pretty good. I have to tell you, I'm going to be very honest with you, I put on all my legs and then I took them off because I was a little out of alignment and it was really bugging me half to death. So there is the legs, and this is pretty good. And what we're going to do now is attach the head. So here's the head. We are going to attach it so that it has a downward look to it, just like so. Now the designer is suggesting that maybe you turn the head slightly to one side. It makes it kind of an uber look, but my original model that you had in the original photograph, I had it so that it was just forward. But if you want to turn it, it's up to you. That is your creativity, and I'd recommend just right about here. Okay, so if you're looking at it, just attach it right about there, and that'll be super cute. So do that now, and when we come back, we're going to start doing some of the final touches. So now it's time to sew on the horns, and this is exactly what you see here. So the ears are going to go on the other side, so it's all like a line going across the top of the head, and the ears are going to be in alignment with the horns, and etc. And you can see that there's a small little gap in between the horns. So please attach your horns. Now the hair is one of the last things we're going to do. So you're going to attach the horns together just like you see onto the head, and then you're going to do the ears as well. So please do both of those now. And this is what it will look like at this point. So he looks like he needs some more decorations. So now I'm about to add some hair to my little guy here. I haven't put on his spots yet, but the hair, it just goes in front of the horns here. It's not very much. You can either embroider it or you can just put it in with a single crochet. And then when you put it in, for example, I'm just going to join it now. So you can either embroider or you can do some chaining if you want to. If you feel like you're ambitious enough. I left an extra long chain so I can just go in, and I'm gonna do some more chains, probably around 7, coming back in right beside it, join it with a single crochet, and just keep adding some more hair. So you can do as much hair as you want to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the instructions from the designer it says to embroider, but if you like to do it with your crochet hook, you can do that as well. So please do that all the way, just until what you think is good, and if you want to do a couple of layers going back in order to fill it in, you can do that as well. So now my character has a little bit of hair right on the top, really cute. You can kind of maneuver the ears if you want to. You can always just redo something else if you would like to have a different expression as well. So now it's time to put on the mane of the giraffe, and you need to find the back spine. Also you need to locate where the back is for inserting the tail. So I would insert the tail first, and then you'll know kind of where the back is, and then I want you to sew the mane onto the stem area, the neck area right here, and he's starting to look pretty cute, I have to say. So now the mane is attached. You will notice that the mane is not actually equal. It's actually got a slight turn in it. Because I have turned his head, I have turned the mane, so when he's looking sideways, his neck appears to be doing a turn. So that's why I've done it that way. I actually kind of went up already straight up, and then I realized that his head looks like The Exorcist, that it could be turning in circles. I also fastened on the tail at this time. So now we have our 12 spots, and you could either I just randomly put on mine when I did mine. I didn't pin them, but if you have OCD and you'd really like to really be strategic, you're only going to pin it on the main body itself, and just be strategic with it, and just start somewhere and just carry along, and if you need to make more, you can. So go ahead and do that, and I guess that's going to be the final step for this particular mystery crochet adventure. So look into my nice yellow eyes. That's right, I am done, and a lollipop the particular, we've been naming her Rex, but now that I see the spots, I want to call her Lollipop, and I will take some photos of her so that you can get a good glimpse of her, what she looks like as a whole. Until next time.